Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Monday, April 17th, 2023. My name's Jeremy. This is my first cup. You know what the Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio mug means? It means it is a Monday or a Thursday. We've got another episode of Martial Arts Radio for you. Today, we'll talk about that episode, and we'll talk about our weekend. It's Monday. I'm feeling a little like, hey, maybe I want to go back to bed, but I won't. Hey, what's that critter? I think that's a critter. Can't quite tell. My eyes are a little fuzzy this morning. And we'll see what you did this weekend and what you got going on, and we'll just do it. We'll see what happens. But let's start with who's here. Who's here already? Good morning, Nathan and Liz and Andrew. And of course, good morning to all the rest of you. I hope you do say hello in the chat. I love seeing who is here. Thanks for coming by, whether you're watching now or later, live later or listening, as it were. And I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Good morning to you, Stacy. Had a wonderful weekend. Saturday, helped referee at a tournament nearby. Got to see some friends that I hadn't seen in a little bit. Good morning, Rebecca. Saw some absolutely wonderful martial arts, some pretty solid sparring. I saw a few absolutely phenomenal forms that made me itch to get back out there and compete. I thought about it. I was thinking about it, but I didn't. I wasn't ready. But I might get ready. We'll see. I'm interested. Good morning, Nick. Stacy says, my eyes looked like someone pumped them up. Achoo. I'm guessing allergies are getting to you. And I hope you had a good Friday as well. I had a low-key Friday. Chipped away at some things. Went to the gym. Went to bed early because I had to get up early. Excuse me. On Saturday. And then yesterday I went for I'm not going to call it a hike. There's not quite enough elevation change, but it's a long walk. It's about 6.5 miles. It's the loop near my house. Talked about that before. Saw my first ever fisher cat in the wild. I've never seen one in the wild. And it looked like it was coming after me initially. And I was hiking with we'll use the verb hiking, even though it wasn't quite what was going on. And looked like it was coming near us. And so I almost didn't bring it, and I'm glad I did. But I brought a thing of pepper spray. And so it's older. It's probably deteriorated in terms of its effectiveness, but it's what I had. And so what we did, kept my friend behind me, and we backed up, and I sprayed on the ground to create barriers. And I don't know that it worked or if it just wasn't coming towards us. Did a little bit of research on fisher cats later in the day, and it would have been really odd if it had come after us, but who knows? It did not bare its teeth. It did not act aggressively, but it also did not seem afraid that there were two human beings nearby, which is all consistent with what I know of fisher cats. But the point being, I was prepared, and I did not wait until it was too late. And also, when you spray pepper spray, make sure you spray it on something and not just into the air. Got just enough of a taste of it. I was like, ugh. This is not how I would season my food. Andrew spent a great weekend in Montreal teaching a Saturday, Sunday drumming workshop to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They invited a few other groups to join in, and we had about 20 attendees. Looks like I'll be back a couple times a year. They were so happy. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear it. Congratulations. What else did I do? How many of you watched the show Big Bang Theory? I'm rewatching it, probably for the third or fourth time. And I'm reinforcing this theory that this show had a cultural influence, that before Big Bang Theory, being a nerd was not as socially acceptable. But through the show and after the show, it certainly is much more so. People talk about video games and tabletop games and computer programming and comic books way more, and cosplay way more than they did beforehand. And, we could probably track it with attendance at Comic-Cons. If we were to get those numbers, I bet we could figure it out. But I bring that up because it makes me believe that a similarly presented martial arts show could have a positive impact on martial arts. I love Cobra Kai. I do. It's a great show. I don't think it's getting people to train. Good morning, Brian. Stacy spent the week sneezing, sniffling, and finishing a long overdue Whistle Kick project. I know I owe you some emails. I saw them come in. I don't do emails on the weekend if I can help it. For anybody waiting on anything from me, today is a busy day. I have, 5 client meetings, something like that. And but tomorrow is wide open, so I will be catching up on a lot of work tomorrow. Well, let's talk about the episode. So today's episode, Martial Arts Radio, is with a gentleman who, how do I want to talk about Nick Tabor's story? The man doesn't use the word quit. Let's put it that way. He doesn't have any quit in him. And he's doing some things differently than a lot of martial artists are, which I dig. And he's got a personal story that allows him to relate to people in a way that I suspect makes him a better than average instructor. He's got more to draw on than a lot of us. And I really liked talking to him. We had a good time. So that's 806, and I hope that you do check it out. You know who I saw? Episode 804. I saw Kelly Thomas this weekend. She was at the tournament, brought a number of her students. I got to see some of them compete in the ring. They did a wonderful job. And got to give her a hug in person. I don't get to see her very often. Good morning and happy Monday to you, Dennis. And though Dennis has happy in quotes. Happy Monday, peeps. Nick says, I had a great Qigong event in the park. Great Qigong in the park event Saturday. And yesterday we mapped out options for how we're going to fence the yard. Well, that's cool. Good morning to you, Jenny. Rebecca says, I'm going to read it because it's going to cover the whole screen. Sorry this is so long, but I did a lot this weekend. I'm just bursting shirt, all with my karate family. Saturday, me and my son, Aiden, both attended the family class in the morning at their school. Had a great class, practicing some grappling and some self-defense against grabs. Later, I got to attend 2 more special classes. The first was a Kung Fu class taught by Tashi Deb Mahoney. She has to do some intense Jibengong warm-ups called Chi Jiao. Nice. Sounds like you had a lot of martial arts this weekend. How many of the rest of you had a lot of martial arts this weekend? How many of you trained? How many of you taught? How many of you were potentially attacked by a fisher cat and had to implement self-defense principles on the fly in an odd environment while defending another person and using a semi-improvised weapon? Yep. It's really interesting to me how we underestimate the impact that other people have on our self-defense situation. And given this situation with the pepper spray, which, by the way, if your plan for utilizing pepper spray, or rather, if your plan for defending yourself in your home involves pepper spray, I want you to get a different plan, because there is a very good chance that you're going to get some on you. You need a backup plan, because assuming that the person you spray is going to be worse off than you is a poor plan. Okay, just want to throw that out there. Doesn't mean it's not part of it, but so the part of this situation that I think from self-defense is most interesting is the fact that I had to continually tell this person, I need you to stay behind me. They kept ignoring that instruction. Now, you could say, well, if they get sprayed, it's their fault. Sure. But what if the situation was worst case and this was a rabid Fisher cat or something and it was coming after us? I'm going to have a really difficult time dealing with someone that, who can't see, they're crying, and now they're in pain and they want to lay on the ground. It's a situation, it's these kind of situations, these scenarios that are so rarely handled in any kind of a self-defense class. The idea of having to protect someone else who is not following instruction. And I was as assertive as I could be without as I was comfortable being, without the person potentially crossing a threshold and insisting on ignoring instruction, right? Stop yelling at me, right? And now we have a whole different scenario to attend to, because then I have to not only protect them, but now I have to convince them to listen to my instructions again. Right? There's a drill I'm going to come up with for this. I've got something. There's something brewing on how to handle this. And if anybody has drills like this, I would love to hear from you, because I want to know what's out there, because I've not done anything like this. I'm sure people have drills, but if any of you have drills, please share them with me, video, email. If there's something on YouTube that you're aware of, please let me know, because it's important. It's important stuff. Now, we do have some stuff from Frank. Frank sent over things. I saw them come in last night. Shout out and thank you as always to Frank, or make sure we have things going on, and he takes care of some other cool stuff for the show. I appreciate you, Frank. And shout out to Josh for our theme song, and thank you to Denise for audio. And Facebook is loading so I can pull this. Come on, Facebook. I'm a little fuzzy this morning. I slept well, but I was kind of relaxed, so I'm not doing anything to change it. All right. What do we have today? 3 quotes from Marsha Petriceau, who I don't know who that is. Maybe one of you can do a quick Googling. And here we go. Today's decisions are tomorrow's realities. Remember, you have 3 choices. Take it, leave it, or change it. One of the things, and I will periodically post something that leads to this on Facebook, because it gives me the ability to know who to filter out. Who do I not want to spend time with? I'll post something where the net outcome is people saying, or people reducing the situation down to their control. people wanting to present as essentially as a victim. Well, I can't change that because, well, you can change anything. You can always get a new job. You can always move. You can do anything, but you don't want to. There's a difference. There's power and choice, but a lot of people don't want to claim that power because that also comes with claiming that responsibility. And when we talk about take it, leave it, or change it, most people forget the change it part. They will reason away the change options. What good does that do you? Why would you not want more options? At any given time, I don't have to do this show. I could do the show early. I could do the show late. I could never do the show. I could do the show in my bathrobe. I could do it in a t-shirt. I could do it in a different part of the house. That's a lot of choices. I could do it from my phone while I drive down the highway. Because I think legally I could start the phone. Yeah, I could start the call and then drive and then pull over and turn it off, right? So there we go. I'm not even breaking the law. There's power and choice. Don't give it up. When you give up that power, when you say, I can't because, well, there's probably still a choice in there. And you're making a choice, but you want to remain powerless. Because then the consequences aren't your fault. Take responsibility for the consequences. Change them next time. Thank you, Stacy. She says that Marsha Petrie-Sue is a professional speaker, executive coach, and author. Stacy remembers the bathrobe era. That's right. Very beginning of the show. When it would happen whenever I woke up. Sometimes it was at 6. Sometimes it was at 7. Take it, leave it, or change it. Here's the irony. The more willing you are to leave it, to reject it, the more likely it is to change. No, I don't want that. Something different will come along. Once in a while, that thing will be better. Number 2, non-participation gives us hardening of the attitude. Life goes on, and if we do not participate, life still goes on. If a negative attitude is not getting us where we want to go, then why not change the attitude? Reshaping attitudes is possible. Awareness is the key initial step. There's something that happens when you say no too much. And I don't mean too much because you're holding high standards. I mean no because you're choosing simple. And I went through a bit of this. Because it becomes harder to say yes. Because people stop asking. And sometimes the asking is direct. Hey, do you want to go to this thing? No. And then they stop asking you, right? That's pretty cut and dry. But sometimes you just stop, as the quote would suggest, being aware of the opportunities around you. And this is something that I'm forcing myself into because for years, my life was very simple. I woke up, I did the show, I sat at my desk, and then I would leave, and I would go to the gym, and I would come home. Years. And then sometimes on weekends, I would go to martial arts events. And then I decided that wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted variety, but it took a lot of effort. And now I do the show. I go to my office. Sometimes I go to different gyms. I go to martial arts events on the weekends. I go out places, sometimes with friends, sometimes by myself. It's a whole different life. But it took some willingness, some awareness that there was an opportunity. We pull this back to the first quote. Take it, leave it, or change it. I chose to change it. For a long time, it was, what am I going to do? I live alone in the woods. Giving up responsibility. Well, I made a choice to live here. I could sell my house. I could rent out my house. I could just go rent a room and continue to pay for my house. I could, not that I want to, I could burn my house down and claim the insurance money. Lots of possibilities. Stacy says, you do improv classes? Yeah. Options, choices. Reshaping attitudes is possible. Awareness is the key initial step. What about in our training? What if you're looking to become dramatically better? How do you become a black belt? You become a black belt. How do you become anything? You become that thing. That requires a shift in attitude. How do you change that attitude? You recognize first that there is a possibility to do so. If you want to be more, you have to do everything you can to embody what that more looks like. If you want to become a black belt, the sooner you start training with the passion of a black belt, the sooner you'll get there. How does a white belt train? They show up, they tie their belt poorly, they leave. And then they might come to the next class. How often do black belts miss class? Well, it's their primary main passion thing that they love in the world. Yeah. You can become that as a white belt. There's nothing stopping you from making it your life focus early on. Nothing at all. And when you do so, whether we're talking about martial arts or anything, the world will respond. The take it or leave it that you're given changes. You have different opportunities presented to you, probably ones that you're more interested in taking. What's our last quote from this insightful woman? Are you in control of your time so you can live your life as a human being? Or is time controlling you so you have become a human doing? Are you busy doing this and that for other people, but never have time for yourself? This used to be me. This still is me at times. The decision now is really, does this have to be done right now? Can this wait? One of the things that I have to balance is, I have these clients, and some of them have a relatively small monthly commitment of hours for me. And I always give them a little bit more. But if someone's on the lower end of that spectrum, should they expect a 12 or 24-hour turnaround? No. There's one, and it is not someone who's ever watched the show that I'm aware of. I'm going to be as vague as I can. There's one who gets really impatient. And I try to balance not letting them stress and stew too much with my own needs. And what I've learned is, hey, I got your email. I'll get back to you soon. And now they know that I got it. That's something I'm doing a lot more of lately. I'm acknowledging receipt of your email. I'll get back to you soon. Because there's always more. If I email all the people, if I email the whole team and all my clients, by the time I'm done emailing all of them, one of them will write me back. And then do I write them back? And then what if they write me back? This is where, for those of you who want a bit of a trick, in Gmail, the schedule send feature becomes really handy. I'm going to write it now, and I'm going to schedule it to send at 5:30 or 8 in the morning or an hour from now. Because I want to respond, but I don't want to get trapped in an email loop back and forth. It's okay with not being the last word on an email thread. There's a difference between drawing the line, really high, setting the bar high, and being balanced yourself with your own life and conveying that balance to the people around you. One of the things I tell my clients, whether we're talking about their children or their students, how you act in front of them is how you're asking them to act as they become older. If you spend all of your time working and you don't spend time with your children will grow up expecting that that is what they are supposed to do. The way you run a martial arts school is the way your students will run their school. You are spending a lot of time modeling that behavior in front of them. And if there are things about what you do that you do not want them to do, we first have to change it in you. That's something a lot of people don't like hearing. And I have to be careful with that because that's a powerful statement. Would you want your kids to do this when they get older? Oof. It's a gut punch for some of them. The way you treat yourself is the way that you invite the world to treat you. You give permission. If your actions suggest to everyone that they are more important than you, no one will ever act as if you are important. Because guess what? They're still more important to them than you are. You have to be more important to you than everyone else. It's the only way this works. Unless we suddenly find a way that everyone is going to take care of everyone else, which is logically impossible or statistically all but impossible. So what's the alternative? You take care of you. You make you the most important person. And yeah, that includes if you have children, because don't you want them to make themselves important? And no, don't give me some crap about, oh, well, I don't want my kid to be selfish. There's a very different thing. Those are completely different. The idea that you take care of yourself, that you make yourself the most important person in your life does not mean selfish. Selfish is exclusionary. I'm talking about meeting your needs, remaining a healthy, happy, functional human being. And if you consider that selfish, then we should probably have a chat. And this is the analogy that everyone quotes, and I think it's a great one. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Yep. Yeah. Everything else leads to it falling apart. So today, look for one opportunity. If this resonates for you, if you are one of these folks who doesn't do a great job of taking care of themselves, of not putting themselves first, of making everyone and everything else in the world a priority, I want you to look for one opportunity today, really small, where you start to prioritize someone else's needs and you feel it inside and you're like, I don't really want to do this. This is not really what is best for me in this moment. And I want you to stop. And I want you to say something honest. You know, I'd love to help you with that, but I really need to go do this. And guess what? If they don't like it, that's tough. Because when someone tells you, you know, I would love to help you, but I really need to go take care of this thing for me. Do you shut them out of your life? Do you have some kind of ridiculous expectation or response? Probably not. If they do, maybe they don't belong in your life. Or maybe you trained them for so long that they were more important than you, that they can't handle it. Who knows? I don't know. This is important stuff to think about. Crows, stop messing with my stuff. I hope this meant something for you today. Take care. Andy, good morning. I hope you have a great day. I hope you check out episode 806 with Nick Tabor. I hope you like it. I suspect you will. And I hope if you're willing to support us, you got a few things you can do. You can join the Patreon, which I've been doing better, putting more and more stuff up. Starts at $2. $2. What can you get for $2? In fact, I'll tell you what. I would challenge you to find anything of greater value for $2 than a Whistlekick Patreon membership. Can you even buy a cup of coffee for $2 anymore? One cup of coffee or a month of bonus, Whistlekick bonus stuff. Kind of crazy. I don't know why I took that down. You can also buy something at the store using the code FIRSTCUP15. And if you want the whole list of all the things, check out the family page, whistlekick.com/family if you are, in fact, part of our family. And I would say every one of you are. Then you should check out the family page and see what's there. Nick says you should give the crows peanuts. I spread a whole bunch of birdseed around the yard yesterday. They've got more than enough to find. Plenty. I want to make them work for it. They're crows. They're smart. They need some mental stimulation. Trying to mess with my things. There's probably a good dozen of them flying around. I was sitting on the deck yesterday. It was beautiful weather. And they were scattered around, making noise at me. Take care. Have a wonderful day. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Peace.